A blushing bride, an emotional groom, tearful parents and friends witnessing a new chapter being written. Capturing those precious moments for posterity is one of the most critical jobs during a wedding. We're joined by Barnett, lead videographer for TwoFlyGuys Media. It's good to meet you.
Hey, how are you? I'm doing good.
Yeah, so your role in a wedding really is one of the most important. What is it like having the weight of the world on your shoulders every time you go cover your clients?
I appreciate you saying it's one of the most important. I'll take that. But it's I don't know. The first couple weddings I ever did, I think I was very nervous about messing up somebody's entire wedding day. But now it's just something I do every weekend here and there, and so it's almost I have to continuously remind myself of the importance of that day and not just get lost in the camera and what I'm I guess capturing. But
And there is no such thing as getting in anybody's way, because at the end of the day, what that bride and groom and their children and families and for future generations hope to see is the absolute perfect compilation of that day that was both
absolutely.
fleeting and extremely memorable at the same time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The kind of getting up close and personal is just a part of the wedding day.
And I think that's a great segue into what we've been talking about today. We just spoke with a wedding planner who has been talking about how weddings have changed amid a pandemic. So I would assume for a videographer, it's really no different, but curious how you've had to adapt and if you've had to make any significant changes to the way you work.
Yeah, so with the wedding planner, I guess they deal with a lot of the kind of front end leading up to the wedding day. And we mainly deal with a lot, like a little bit on the planning side, but mainly just on that exact wedding day and then the editing after. So this year has been crazy would be a good word to use there.
Yeah, and you were mentioning about being up close and personal. So can you still do that? How has that changed?
Yeah, so
Has
showing
your
up
style of taking video changed?
Yeah, showing up to a wedding, I always like to be the happiest person in the room and kind of high energy. And doing that with a mask covering over half of my face is sometimes a little bit more difficult because you have to use more vocal excitement rather than relying on smiles and getting people engaged in the day. So yeah, definitely the biggest thing for me has changed is just wearing a mask for 10 hours of the wedding day and not being able to just like not so much awkward moments, but not sure if I should shake the groom's hand when I meet him for the first time or give the bride a hug when I like leaving for the day or things like that have definitely changed.
Yes, absolutely. And let's talk about just the style in which you take your video. Are you having to keep more of a distance between you and the subject? And in terms of capturing all the moments of that special day, everybody's wearing masks. So are you finding yourself maybe shooting other stuff or maybe trying to make up for these things that can kind of be a distraction?
Yeah, so I've kind of seen both ways of brides and couples basically like, hey, like let's try to like take off the masks as much as possible where we can get like different shots and see pretty much like normal what we would see. And then some brides and couples have just embraced the mask culture and will embroider their own custom masks, have bride and groom written on them, and also I just did a wedding actually yesterday where they wanted to capture the distance that everybody was keeping, and they wanted to, even though it's kind of a weird time, they still wanted to remember the moment that like that day was for them. So they had the wristbands, kind of the yellow, green, and red, showcasing like who is okay with being close and who's okay with this. And she very much told me in the form that filled out was, hey, like we very much want to capture this and to remember the COVID pandemic wedding. And so some brides are embracing it and some are, yeah, we work around it. So it works.
That's really interesting. That's a great system, by the way. I didn't even hear about that. But people have become very creative when it comes to dealing with a pandemic. Let's just kind of move on and talk about your process. So as an artist, as a videographer, once you take home that footage, what is the process for you to put it all together? And generally speaking, how long are your videos?
Yeah, so we focus mainly on 8 to 10 minute wedding highlight films. And with that, it sounds crazy, but I probably take about 250 minutes worth of video on a wedding day, and then bring it home to the computer, organize, and I think right now about between 30 and 45 hours is what it takes me to put together a full client's highlight film and then their full ceremony video and then get it shipped out the door. So it's almost I guess like a full week of kind of editing and creating. And the biggest, I guess the hardest part of that is sometimes the mental block and creativity that happens, but you just power through those and keep on working.
You're a good man. 250 minutes whittled down to less than 10. Oh my goodness. Better you than me, sir. Well, anybody who wants more information, where do they find you?
At my website is the best way to go. It's just twoflyguysmedia.com/wedding. And then that contact form they'll be able to fill out, and then it'll go directly to my email, and
Terrific.
it's the best way.
Sounds good. Ross, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I know right now is your busy season. A lot of weddings were put off for a couple months from the springtime, but now we're kind of getting back into it. Also good on you for dealing with the heat and humidity. Not for the faint of heart. I want to thank you, Ross. We'll be back after this.